If you're over 70, you've probably been told the same thing again and again: just walk more. Walking is all you need, and yes, walking is healthy. It's accessible, it supports circulation, and it keeps you moving. But people who work with seniors every single day, the physical therapists, rehab specialists, strength coaches, occupational therapists, and mobility researchers, have been quietly pointing out something important. Walking, by itself, doesn't train several key abilities that the aging body depends on the most. Think about what actually challenges you as you get older. It's not just distance. Most older adults don't struggle because they can't walk 2 miles. They struggle because standing up from a low seat feels harder than it used to, or because stepping over a curb requires concentration, or because turning quickly in the kitchen feels unsteady, or because one unexpected stumble sends the heart racing. These are not walking problems. They are strength problems, stability problems, reaction problems, and joint control problems. And walking simply doesn't target those abilities deeply. In senior rehab centers, therapists see this pattern every day. Many older adults come in saying, "But I walk every day. Why does my balance still feel off? Or why does getting out of a chair feel harder, even though I'm active?" Walking moves the legs forward, yes, but it doesn't strengthen the muscles that lift you out of chairs. It doesn't challenge your body sideways. It doesn't train quick reactions, and it doesn't load your bones or joints in a way that rebuilds strength. It just repeats the same pattern over and over. Once you understand what the body actually loses with age, the picture becomes clearer. One of the first abilities to fade is reaction time. That's what helps you recover when you stumble. Walking barely trains that. Another thing that fades is hip mobility, the ability of your leg to move in circles, sideways, and backward. Walking uses only a narrow slice of that motion. And perhaps the most overlooked ability is single leg stability, the ability to stand on one foot without wobbling. Most people don't notice how essential this is. Every step you take is a moment on one leg. If that ability weakens, even long walks won't feel secure. This is why many experts encourage older adults to keep walking, but also to add specific movements that strengthen the parts of the body walking doesn't reach. Not complicated exercises, not high-intensity workouts, just simple motions that target stability, joint control, and strength in ways walking cannot. And what's remarkable is how quickly many older adults feel the difference. This doesn't require months. Some people notice better steadiness, more confidence, and easier walking within days of adding the right movements. Their steps feel smoother, their legs feel more supportive. Getting out of chairs feels less like a strain. What changes isn't their age, it's how prepared their body is to move. This video will walk you through 5 essential movements that help address the gaps walking leaves behind. These movements are widely used in senior mobility programs because they strengthen the body in directions and patterns that matter deeply as you age. They are simple, require no equipment, and can be scaled for any ability level. The goal isn't to replace walking. The goal is to help your body feel ready to walk, supported, stable, and confident. When your joints are prepared, when your stabilizer muscles are engaged, when your balance and reaction systems are awake, walking becomes something you enjoy again instead of something you push through. So here's what we'll cover. A walking pattern that trains balance far more deeply than normal walking, a strength movement that supports the ability to get out of chairs, a hip control exercise that helps with turning, stepping sideways, and recovering from missteps, a full body tension exercise that teaches your muscles to work together in emergencies, and finally, a stability movement that experts often consider one of the most important for independence later in life. Each one targets a specific weakness that develops with age, and each one complements walking in a way that makes your daily routine safer, smoother, and more effective. Before we begin, take a moment to think about how your body has been feeling during your walks. Do you feel steady? Do you feel balanced? Do you feel strong when getting up or turning? Or does something feel a little less certain than it used to? Your answers aren't signs of failure. They're simply signals. And signals are the body's way of telling you exactly what needs attention. Now, let's begin with the first essential movement. It looks simple, but it teaches your nervous system something that normal walking simply cannot. The first essential movement we're starting with looks simple, almost too simple, but it trains something walking barely touches: precise balance control. It's called heel-to-toe walking, sometimes known as line walking, and it forces your mind and body to communicate in a more focused way than ordinary steps ever require. Most people don't realize how different this motion is from normal walking. When you walk on a sidewalk, your feet land slightly apart, your base of support is wide. Even if your balance isn't perfect, your body has room to correct small wobbles. But heel-to-toe walking creates a narrow path, like walking a tightrope. One foot placed directly in front of the other, heel touching the toes. Suddenly, your brain has to pay attention. Your ankles must stabilize, your hips must adjust. Your midsection has to support your posture. The whole body participates. This is why it's used in so many senior mobility programs. It strengthens the communication pathway between your feet, your joints, and your brain. That communication, the ability to sense position and respond, naturally becomes slower with age. This isn't a disease or a disorder. It's simply how the nervous system changes over time if it isn't challenged. Heel-to-toe walking gently trains that system without speed, without pressure, and without impact. What surprises many older adults is how quickly they feel the difference. When they place the feet in that tightrope line, they can sense their body adjusting in ways they haven't felt in years. Small muscles in the ankles switch on. The hips do little corrections. The core subtly tightens. They aren't doing a workout, but their body is suddenly awake. After practicing this a few times a day, even for short distances, many seniors say they feel steadier when turning around corners, stepping over objects, or navigating crowded places. Not because they've changed their strength dramatically, but because their coordination becomes sharper. To try this safely, stand near a counter or wall so you have support if needed. Pick a spot ahead of you, something to focus on, and start by placing one foot directly in front of the other. Let the heel of your front foot gently touch the toes of your back foot. Then take a slow, controlled step forward, repeating that same narrow pattern. You don't need to go far. 10 to 20 steps is enough. The goal isn't distance, it's precision. You might notice your body wanting to swing the arms more or tighten the shoulders. That's normal. Your brain is exploring how to stabilize you. With practice, your movements will feel smoother and less shaky. And when that happens, everyday walking feels easier too, because your balance system has been trained at a higher difficulty than regular steps require. Now, here's something interesting older adults often share with specialists, and it connects to lifestyle, not exercise. Many seniors notice subtle improvements in how steady they feel on days when their routine supports clarity and calmness. For example, some older adults say that when they choose lighter breakfasts or include simple foods like fruit or yogurt, they begin the day feeling a bit more settled and coordinated. Not because the food performs miracles, but because gentle, consistent choices influence how their body behaves. The same principle applies to this movement. It's not dramatic, it's small, but small, consistent challenges help the nervous system stay active and responsive. And that responsiveness is one of the most important qualities for preventing falls later in life. What heel-to-toe walking teaches your body is not strength, but awareness. Awareness of your position, awareness of where your center of gravity is, awareness of how to correct small missteps. That awareness doesn't come from walking on flat, predictable surfaces. It comes from controlled challenges, exactly what this movement creates. Once this becomes part of your routine, something interesting happens. Your brain starts treating regular walking as easy mode. You step with more confidence because your body is used to a more demanding pattern. This is one of the reasons so many mobility experts include line walking in senior programs. It's practical, it's low risk, and it sharpens one of the most important skills you have, the ability to stay upright when life isn't predictable. Now that we've awakened your balance system, it is time to address something even more central to independence, the ability to rise from a chair, stand, and move with control. Walking doesn't train this ability, but the next movement does, and it's one of the most powerful ways to maintain independence as the years go by. Now that your balance system has been awakened, we move to something just as important, maybe even more important, for anyone over 70, the ability to rise from a seated position with control. This single movement pattern affects almost everything you do: getting out of bed, getting out of your car, standing from the dinner table, getting up from the couch, even standing up after using the restroom. These moments don't feel like exercise, but they're some of the most demanding tasks your body performs each day. The challenge is that walking doesn't train this ability. You can walk miles and still struggle to stand up without pushing on your thighs or gripping the armrests. This isn't weakness in the dramatic sense. It is specific leg strength fading slowly over time. The muscles that lift you out of a chair are different from the ones that simply move you forward during a walk. And as those chair-rising muscles weaken, daily life becomes more exhausting. That's where the chair stand, or what many call the gentle squat, comes in. Don't think of this as a gym squat. Think of it as retraining one of the most essential motions for independence. The goal is simple: teaching your legs to take on their natural role again in lifting and lowering your body with control. Start by sitting in a sturdy chair. Keep your feet under your knees, not stretched out in front of you. Lean forward slightly so your weight shifts over your feet. This is something many older adults forget, and it makes a huge difference. Then, using your legs, press through your heels and stand up slowly. Don't rush, don't jerk, just a smooth, steady rise. Once you're fully standing, pause for a moment so your balance can settle. Then, lower yourself back down with the same control. The lowering phase is where the muscles learn the most. This movement looks simple, but it strengthens the chain of muscles responsible for almost every daily transition. And when that chain gets stronger, something powerful happens. Everyday tasks begin to feel lighter. Many older adults say things like, "Standing doesn't feel like a chore anymore," or "I don't have to push off my chair as much." This is the first sign that your lower body is waking back up. Mobility specialists often explain that one of the earlier signs of fading independence is difficulty rising from low chairs or soft seats. And the earlier you train this movement, the more strength you preserve. It doesn't require heavy weights or intense effort. What it requires is consistency, showing your body the pattern it needs to maintain. This makes chair stands one of the quiet age unlockers. As you get stronger in this motion, you don't just improve one task, you improve dozens. It becomes easier to climb stairs, easier to transfer in and out of cars, easier to lift yourself from bed, easier to catch yourself during moments of imbalance. Strength in this pattern radiates into every part of life. And what is interesting is how similar this is to the way older adults describe small changes in their daily habits. Many say that making slight adjustments to their meals, choosing something lighter in the morning or adding simple foods like fruit, yogurt, or nuts, helps them feel more energetic through the day. They aren't claiming miracles. They're simply noticing that small, consistent routines create noticeably smoother days. Chair stands work the same way. Nothing dramatic. Just gradual improvements that build into something meaningful. There's another reason this movement matters so much. After 70, the body naturally begins losing muscle at a faster rate unless it's challenged. Walking doesn't challenge these specific muscles enough to slow that trend. But standing up from a chair, repeatedly and with control, does. This is one of the reasons long-term mobility programs use this movement as a cornerstone exercise. It teaches your legs to support you. It teaches your joints to align. It teaches your body to produce steady effort in a way walking never forces. And as this becomes easier, walking itself becomes more enjoyable. Your stride feels more powerful. Your legs feel more stable. You don't sink into chairs with a thud anymore. You lower yourself with intention. These are the subtle signs of aging slowing down, not through intensity, but through precise practice. After you've built this foundational strength, you're ready for the next movement, one that supports the part of your body responsible for sideways steps, turning, recovering from missteps, and adjusting to uneven ground. These are situations where many older adults feel unsteady, and where walking offers absolutely no training. The hips control all these movements, and our next exercise teaches them to work the way they were meant to. Now that your leg strength is awake, it is time to train something walking barely touches: the hip's ability to move freely and stabilize your body in more than one direction. Forward walking uses only a narrow slice of hip motion, which is why so many older adults start to feel stiff or unstable when turning, stepping sideways, or recovering from a small stumble. The hips weren't built only for forward motion. They were built to rotate, lift, stabilize, and shift your body through all kinds of daily tasks. That ability fades mostly because it isn't challenged, and that's where hip circles come in. To do this movement, hold onto a counter or chair with one hand. Lift one knee gently, not high, just enough to let the leg move freely. Then draw a slow circle with your knee, forward, outward, back, and around again. Think of tracing the biggest comfortable circle your hip can manage without pain or strain. Move slowly, the slower the better. Then reverse the direction. After a few circles, switch legs. What you'll notice is subtle but incredibly important. The hips begin to glide. The small stabilizer muscles around the joint, the ones that help you catch yourself if you slip, start firing again. These are the muscles that help you get out of cars, step over curbs, turn in narrow spaces, and react when you lose balance for a moment. And walking doesn't train them deeply at all. As mobility experts often explain, the ability to recover from small missteps doesn't come from forward walking strength. It comes from sideways and rotational strength. Hip circles retrain exactly that. Many older adults say that after doing these for a few days, turning in the kitchen feels more natural, stepping around objects doesn't feel as tense, and getting out of bed feels smoother. These are the everyday wins that make a huge difference in confidence. And just like with food habits, where seniors sometimes notice that including something simple like a light snack midday helps them feel steadier and clearer, hip circles produce small but meaningful improvements that ripple into daily life. You're not doing a workout. You're teaching your body to move the way it's meant to move. Once the hips awaken, the next movement might surprise you because it doesn't involve motion at all. It's a wall press, a gentle isometric tension exercise. Instead of moving a weight, you press against something that doesn't move. This teaches the body to produce steady force safely, something many older adults lose as they age, because daily life rarely challenges it. Stand facing a wall. Place your palms flat at about shoulder height. Step back slightly so your body forms a straight line. Then press into the wall with steady, controlled effort, not straining, just firm. You'll feel your core engage, your shoulders tighten slightly, and your legs brace underneath you. Hold for a few seconds, then release. This might feel simple, but what your body is learning here is coordination. The ability to tighten the right muscles at the right time. The ability to brace your core when you need stability. The ability to produce force steadily instead of suddenly collapsing into chairs or losing tension while reaching for something. These qualities often fade in older adults because most daily tasks don't activate them strongly. But controlled isometric work brings them back gently. Many physical therapists use isometric movements to help older adults feel more secure when walking, standing from chairs, or balancing. The reason is simple: strength doesn't just come from movement. It comes from the ability to activate muscles intentionally. When older adults begin adding this wall press into their routine, they often describe feeling more solid, more supported, or more awake through their trunk and legs. Not because anything magical happened, but because the body relearned how to brace. And now we arrive at the final movement, the one that mobility professionals around the world consistently emphasize as one of the most important abilities for anyone over 70, the single leg stance. Standing on one leg trains everything at once: balance, ankle stability, hip control, posture, and the nervous system's ability to react quickly. It's simple, it's quiet, but it challenges the body in the most essential way possible. To try it, stand near a counter or chair. Lift one foot just an inch or two off the ground, not high. Just enough to make the standing leg do the work. Focus your gaze on something in front of you and breathe normally. Hold for a few seconds, then switch sides. If you feel wobbly, lightly touch the counter. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is teaching your nervous system to stabilize your weight on one leg. Single leg stance is one of the clearest reflections of functional aging. When older adults include this in their daily routine, even for brief holds, they often notice something surprising. Regular walking feels easier. Turning feels less uncertain. Getting dressed feels less awkward. The body begins to trust itself again. And what most people don't realize is that every step you take, even during normal walking, is a moment of single leg balance, just very fast. So by practicing it slowly, you strengthen the foundation of every movement you perform throughout the day. This final exercise ties the whole routine together. The heel two-toe walk awakens precision. The chair stand restores strength. The hip circles activate mobility. The wall press builds tension and control. And the single leg stance unites everything into a coordinated, responsive system. The system you rely on every day to stay independent, steady, and confident. These 5 movements aren't about youth. They're about capability. They're about teaching your body to move with intention instead of hesitation. They're about maintaining the physical abilities that matter most, the ones that let you stand tall, walk safely, recover from mistakes, and live on your own terms. Now the question becomes, which of these will you start today? Because every small repetition, every controlled step, every moment of balance is an investment in the years ahead. And the sooner you begin, the sooner your body begins responding.